about your life.
What's good, everyone, and welcome back to Having Juice with OJ with your host Oliver. And today we are here with the official new co-host, Yerami Jimenez. Congrats on that, my boy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing me on. I'm excited.
Of course. We've got a lot to talk about today in the birds. I had this posted behind me in one of the episodes before, but now I had to wear it because the Eagles are taking this one home, Yerami. But the question is, who has the more pressure? The Chiefs or the Eagles?
You know, when we talked, I think 3-4 weeks ago about who is the team to beat, and I immediately came out and said the Chiefs. You know, I'm glad I wasn't wrong. You know, the Chiefs are still the team to beat. They've been the cream of the crop of the NFL for the past 4 or 5 years. Patrick Mahomes has, you know, been able to help his squad go through adversity in the AFC playoffs and come out victorious, barring an injury to his ankle, his body. And, you know, it kind of feels like this is a game that was, you know, kind of supposed to happen. I think this is a game that's kind of supposed to happen. Between Jalen Hurts and his ability to run and throw and everything that he's done with the squad in Philadelphia, and with Patrick Mahomes and the talent and the ability that he's had and shown and developed over the past 4 or 5 years in the league. You know, this is a kind of like a battle of the future, in my opinion, to see who's going to rise up and be the face of the league, especially with 2 young black quarterbacks going after it for the first time in the Super Bowl.
It's amazing.
I think it's going to be a great game to watch. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah, I definitely am very excited for this game. I agree it is the battle of the future. Now that Tom Brady is out of the league, this is going to change what happens in the NFL. The NFL now is basically going to pick a person to, you know, run the NFL face. And we need to see who it's going to be. And obviously, Patty Mahomes is that guy. Like right now, everyone would say he's going to be number one. He has the best chance. But right now, like, this game is going to testify for a lot of that. I mean, Jalen Hurts right now is coming in with a lot of pressure. He's got to come in and he's got to prove himself. I mean, he had pressure in college when he didn't get the chance at Alabama, and like all these things happened to him throughout his career, just like when he got drafted by the Eagles and everyone was like, why are we grabbing this guy? Like at first, nobody wanted him here, and I think people forget that. And now that he's here and he's in the Super Bowl and he went 16-1 this year with his squad himself, he's got to show it on the biggest stage possible. And I think that creates a lot of extra pressure because, like, the Chiefs have been there before. They've won and they've lost before. So that's why I don't think that the pressure is there for them, because they know that they'll get back there. I think that the Eagles need to prove that they can get back there and they can stay there.
Well, then I don't think that necessarily creates a form of pressure for the Eagles to win and get back there so much for the Chiefs as to not lose to a squad that shouldn't be there. As, you know, we all thought the Eagles weren't a Super Bowl team coming into the season. And for them to make it there is a spectacular feature on its own. And it goes to show the amount of growth that Jalen Hurts has done in the league in only his first 3 years. And if they can keep that squad together, keep that defense together, keep A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith growing as NFL stars, then, you know, I'm not really concerned about the Eagles' playoff hopes in the future. I think that they'll remain a dominant team in the NFC. With the Chiefs, the last time we saw them in the Super Bowl, they got embarrassed by Tampa Bay. And it's created a lot of questions around Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs squad of whether or not they can do it and get it done. It created a lot of questions around, is Patrick Mahomes really this generational talented QB, or is he just a great quarterback in a league that's just spewing out talent right now? I think this championship for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and everyone else on that squad, this championship is what separates not just them individually, but them as a dynasty. It separates them from good from great. You know, losing to the Eagles right now, I mean, it's not embarrassing because they're a good squad. But for the level of pedigree that Patrick Mahomes carries on his shoulders, this is a must-win game. Because how do we look at him as the best in the league, as the face of the NFL, as the face of the future, if he loses this game? So I think it creates not an immense amount of pressure to where, you know, he's going to be making mistakes, because I don't think it's not Tampa in 2020. It's not that type of environment. It's not that type of script per se. But, you know, I think a lot of what can happen in this game is going to be in Patrick Mahomes' own hands. So we're going to have to see how he deals with that, and if he can come out on top.
See, about the Eagles, I also believe that this is the pressure game for them, only because they have a lot of free agents coming out. Like, they have Miles Sanders, they got Fletcher Cox. Who knows what Kelsey's going to do after this season? I mean, I was even watching New Heights, and they asked him about, like, oh, what do you think you're going to be doing? Like, you're getting older. And the way he looked and sounded when he said it kind of sounded like there's some doubt that there's a chance that this, if they win, this could be the end for him.
He wanted to hang him up, yeah.
Yeah, so I could see that happening. And then right there, that's a lot. That's a lot of heart in your team. There's also Smitty. I mean, AJ Brown's locked in, so no need to worry about that. But the thing is, you have a lot of question marks. And question marks means you need to show why you should stay. And I think that a loss for them would then make a lot of those players maybe decide on hopping on and getting a crazy deal somewhere else, rather than if they win, they're going to want to come back and run it back. Like, that's what's going to happen. So I think that if they win this game, it changes what their team's going to look like in the future. And I think that's a huge thing to think about when thinking about the pressure, because not only is it on Jalen and not only is it on Nick Sirianni to outcoach Andy Reid, but it's on those free agents that are there. They're going to play their heart out like this upcoming Sunday, but they need to the team needs to prove that they can win this thing together.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about how the result of this game is going to determine the trajectory of the team for the coming years. But think about the 2018 squad when they won the Super Bowl, and it's only been 4 full seasons since then. This is the 5th year since then. And there's only like 4 players from that squad still there. Mm-hmm. Howie Roseman is constantly revolving the players in and out, who are, one, going to fit his system, and 2, obviously, are going to be able to play under the contract that they give him. So also, to put into perspective, Jalen Hurts is still on his rookie contract. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to get paid. He's going to get paid a lot of money. So
there's going to have to be cuts.
In theory, there are going to be people you're going to have to let walk. Yeah. Is that going to be a Miles Sanders? Is that going to be a...
Well, you should definitely not pay Miles Sanders that much.
Is that going to be a CJ Gardner-Johnson? Is that going to be a Bradley Chubb? Is that going to be whoever? You know, so that's just like... I in that sense, I don't think that I don't think it creates that much pressure on them, because I still think they're going to retool and they're going to keep their core guys together. You know, they're going to keep Jalen, AJ, Devonta. You know, they're going to have Lane and Jordan on the D-line until they probably retire. They're going to have, you know, Hassan and everybody else on a part of that front 7. And then Bradbury and CJB, whoever they want to keep from there. But as long as they keep that core, I think they're going to continuously keep moving those players and create that real Philly system where you can put a lot of pieces around Jalen Hurts, and he's going to find a lot of success because they found their franchise QB in him.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, but in terms of pressure with the Chiefs and moving on to Andy Reid, how much pressure is there on Reid? He's facing his you know, someone that was under him before when he was in Philly. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's kind of like a full circle moment, not only for Reid, but for Sirianni. So how do you see that coaching matchup play out?
See, I don't know if it's the pressure on Reid that's there, because we've all seen Andy Reid. He's the most cool, calm, collected dude ever. And he's going to he's going to coach his butt off. He's going to. No matter what, you're going to know that it's probably not Andy Reid's fault that they would lose this game. I think that's a staple. They would lose it on some pick to CJ Gardner-Johnson. that like Patty Mahomes tries to make a wildly crazy throw. And I just cannot see it being on Andy. I can see it being on Sirianni, because I think it's more like the student wants to beat the teacher type of moment here, because eventually there always has to be a passing off of the torch. But the thing is, Patty's so young, Andy and him just work so well together, and now Sirianni's got to show that he can do the same thing with his QB. And I think that he needs to prove that he is no longer under him in a way. Because I know whenever like I've been under somebody, you always want to beat them. You always want to strive to be better than them. You always want to like be better than your parents. You want to be better than the person who's in your spot when you're a freshman playing a sport. Like all these things are true. So you always work your butt off to get there. So I would say that Andy Reid has slightly less pressure than him. I think he definitely has pressure to not lose again though.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough, because I could see Nick Sirianni, who's built up a reputation as a ballsy play caller, someone who isn't afraid to take risks. I could see him coming out in the first quarter and taking a huge swing, a huge haymaker at the Chiefs, and, you know, putting a touchdown in the first couple of minutes, where the Chiefs are going to have to get up on their feet and respond quick, or it's going to be a long one. But yeah, I definitely think that the coaching aspect, the dynamic between the two, the environment of the game, just the fans, the way that the game is going, it's gonna have a lot of it's gonna play factors into what those two coaches do on that field, and it's gonna be a chess match behind the football match in a sense with those two. So it's gonna be really fun to see those two as well.
And we also know for sure that Eagles fans will definitely be flying to Arizona. Like, you know, people are going to be there.
Yeah, sure.
You know that their fans are going to pop out. It's going to feel like a Philly environment in my head. I think that Chiefs fans are going to be a little sluggish compared to the Eagles fans there. So I think that all this like energy that's pent up, that like, I just feel like that Eagles locker room right now is probably going ballistic. I just can feel their energy while being in this city, which is the craziest part. Like, even when you're in your home, not even stepping out of your house, you are in Philly, you feel just like this weird energy that honestly, it feels different than when they won before. Like, it feels like last time they were the straight underdog, 100%. Like, they had no chance. They had the backup QB in, Nick Foles. Like, they just weren't as good as a team. I would say that this is the best Eagles team I've ever witnessed ever. And they have this like energy, this aura that seems like they just should win. Like, it shows just like in I think they're -1.5. It's pretty much a pick 'em right now. But I think it shows in the fact that they're versing, in my opinion, like top 2 team in the league in the last like multiple years. And they're still like kind of favored in that game to win. And I think that shows volumes to what this team has put together, the way that they've played together. Like, that defense, man, they know how to play together. That offense, man, that offensive line in front of Jalen, especially with this injury, I think he's like 95% okay. In my opinion, I think he's going to be 95% okay. There's no need to worry about it. But it's the fact that that O-line, even if he was 60% okay, would make sure he didn't get hit. They would take penalties. They would take flags. They would do all these things to make sure he didn't get touched.
Yeah, the fact that you mentioned that it's almost a pick 'em, like the line's at 1.5. I kind of was looking at it last night after, you know, I saw reports of Mahomes saying that he's good to go, clear to play, and in my mind, I just feel like he's not. I don't think he's 100%. Like,
that injury takes a while to get like good.
And I don't think it's the first time he's dealt with that specific injury on that same ankle. So it's like,
it looked like he's dealt with that pain before when he was just hopping back onto the field. Feels like he's dealt with that before and had to do it
playing
before.
Snaps on one foot, like knowing just how to wobble, because he's done it. He's wobbled like that on the same foot before. I don't know if he's 100%, which is honestly really scary when going against this front seven in the Eagles defense. That, you know, they have combined, including the playoffs, are combined over like 70 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, over 70 sacks.
It's a lot. It's a lot to think about when you think about what happened with the Chiefs the last time they played an overly pressured defense. But since 2020, the Chiefs have drastically improved their offensive line. They have drastically improved their running game. Those were two things that they did not have against the Buccaneers in that Super Bowl. And those are two things that should be able to help them not only stay competitive, but should help push them over the edge. Because when you think about it, Mahomes is probably going to throw the ball a good 35, 40 times. I think Mahomes is going to throw the ball a good 35, 40 times.
Really?
I think so. I think he's going to get the ball. Like he's just going to get going. He has to get going. If he doesn't get going and he doesn't get going early, then that gives the Eagles defense a chance to just get after him. And if they start getting after him, that's going to create so much pressure on him, and it's going to put him in uncomfortable situations. The offensive line is going to start creating mistakes. They're going to start committing penalties. They're going to start being offsides, and then they're going to start having miscues on offense. So I think, the first 5 snaps out there might be 1 run, maybe 2 runs. But I think Mahomes is just going to start slinging out there. Kind of like how Joe Burrow would come out. How he came out against the Bills on that Monday night game, where he just threw for like 70 yards and 4 passes and just got it going and got the touchdown in the first drive. I think that's kind of the energy that Mahomes is going to bring, which is take it to a whole other level. Yeah. And with Kelsey, surely there has to be a defensive game plan on him. You can't. I'm hoping, for the sake of, I want to see a good game, that the Eagles don't just try to stick a man one-on-one with Kelsey.
There's no way.
That's not.
There's no way they're going to do that. I mean, he's too good. And the thing I would have to say is, the last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, they ran heavy. I think it was Damian Williams had that 100-yard game, and they had to do that to win that game. So looking at this team right now, I would say if they were in the Super Bowl and it was the team that they had in the beginning of the season with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would agree with you 100% that it's going to be a passing heavy game. But I would have to say, with Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon in that back, I think that in the red zone, that he might just try to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible because of that injury, because they're going to be able to get to him quicker in the red zone. I would say that they're going to have to do a lot of either dump offs to the side, or they're going to have to run and show dominance right there in between from the 20 to get a touchdown. I 100% think that it's going to be a run heavy game for them if they win. If they don't win, I think it's because they really shut down that run and they got to Patty while he was trying to make these crazy throws and twists and turns, because they mostly rush 5, I would say, both teams. But that Eagles front, Hassan Reddick, Sweat, like those two especially, like Hargrave, like you've got all these absolute monsters. And I think Hassan Reddick is about to have a game. Like I think he has I would say 3+ sacks. I really do. I think he's going to go crazy. And I think that is going to make him the Super Bowl MVP, in my opinion. That's my little sleeper. But I would say, like, I really believe in that defense, and that's the only thing I don't believe in for the Chiefs, is I really don't believe in that defense. And I've said it a million times, the word Swiss cheese, but that's what they are. And the Eagles know how to put up points. They're going to have a 30+ point game, 100%. But do you think the Eagles defense is going to give up 30+ points to Patrick Mahomes off a hurt leg?
Well, that's where the offensive line comes in, and that's where, their job becomes especially more vital, especially more important in this game. They got to protect their guy. They got to give him a chance, not only, like I said, not only to stay competitive, but to give him a chance to win. They have to stay competitive. Since 2020, Patrick Mahomes has been the best quarterback against the blitz and has had the highest quarterback rating against the blitz.
He's good at getting it out.
And this is a Philadelphia Eagles team that likes to blitz a lot. They like blitzing with those front seven. So, if they want to play that game where they can blitz, they're gonna fight fire with fire, because Mahomes has been great against that for the past 3 years. And if they decide to do that, who's on our man Kelsey? If they want to go blitz all day, Kelsey's gonna have a heyday. He's gonna go absolutely bonkers, and that's honest. No, he's not gonna be my sleeper pick. Is actually Jerick McKinnon for Super Bowl MVP. I can see Jerick McKinnon combining for over, 100 yards from scrimmage, possibly 2 touchdowns, catching those passes out of the backfield. When Patrick gets those snaps, he just has to dump it off real quick, give him to Jared, because Jared has shown the ability to catch those balls. Isaiah, not so much, so he's probably going to get those handoffs. But I think Jared can be in those screen plays where they pick up, an extra 15, 16 yards off of like a 1st and 12 bad penalty. Jared's that guy that they lean on with that. So the fact that they're even able to do that now, when before it was just, I gotta either throw the ball to Travis or throw the ball to Tyreek. We didn't even mention guys like Juju, MVS, and McCall who have also been able to step up for that team when Travis isn't getting it going, or when Jarek and Isaiah aren't able to get it going. But it all leads back to the offensive line. This offensive line that they went and they improved after they failed before is going to be the most vital part to their game plan. And if they can hold down the blitz, if they can hold down, Hargrave and Josh Sweat, they're gonna allow Mahomes to be Mahomes. And when that happens, Mahomes makes magic. So there's gonna be a lot of fireworks in this game. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Jerick McKinnon would be a sleeper pick 100%. I think that, I had him on fantasy. I picked him up randomly when I had no running backs, and he absolutely snapped. And he's somebody you definitely have to worry about. And Isaiah Pacheco, that man can find light anywhere. Like the way he runs, he's so swift. He knows how to find those angles. He goes behind people. He cuts hard. So yeah, I totally agree with his hands that he does not have it there. I think he just needs to run, maybe hit those corners. But Jerick McKinnon is a beast. I think that they should use him a little bit more for blocking to help Patty out, because he is strong. He's a strong dude. I think that they should use him if they're going to make those long plays happen, maybe with Travis or with MVS or Mecole, whoever it is. I think that they're going to need extra protection when it comes to this defense that they're about to face. So I think that they need to figure out new schemes a little bit and come into here saying, hey, listen, one bad hit on Patty could change this entire game, just like it did with Brock Purdy. It could 100% change the game if they just have that one weird fall onto somebody.
If they both come in from opposite sides and they both get them at the same time.
Yeah, they're gonna try to do that. And it's just gonna be it could end bad for him. But we're gonna be right back. So see you later. Welcome back, and we're here with my co-host Jeremy, and we're gonna play a little game of true or false. So to start, true or false, Patty Mahomes is up there with the QBs that Jalen has faced. Up there, in quotes.
Up there. I'm gonna say false. I don't know what Jalen Hurts means by up there, but to this point in his career, collegiately, professionally, in high school, I don't think he's ever faced a quarterback quite as good as Patrick Mahomes. You played Daniel Jones, half of Brock Purdy, and James Johnson in the NFC Championship. I don't think all season you haven't played a quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, I don't know what I get what he's trying to do by giving him the respect but not the praise. Mm-hmm. But with the respect needs to come the praise, because you haven't beaten a guy like Patrick Mahomes yet. So up there, nah, he is the best quarterback that Jalen Hurts has had to play thus far.
I would definitely also have to say false. Patty Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league at the end of the day. As much as some people might push the Jalen agenda I would say that's the only thing people push. Like, they don't even say Joe Burrow is number one. But I 100% think it's false. There's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, you got it. Like I said, with the respect has to come the praise.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. He's a fierce competitor, but
yeah,
you might as well not even say it because kind of look a little foolish doing it.
And then true or false, AJ Brown has a better game than Travis Kelce.
That's gonna be rough. You know, I can see it happening. I can see AJ Brown going bananas against that Chiefs secondary that has been very suspect sometimes. And you know, even with the game plan, you know, I think a lot of it's going to be focused on AJ Brown. But if that happens, and you know, let's say AJ Brown doesn't have the better game, could easily beat Devonta Smith. So, and then on the other end too, if you know Travis Kelce is going to be drawing a lot of those blocking assignments, you know, and the ball's not really getting to him, if the Eagles defense is doing what they need to do, you know, I can totally see it happening. So I think I'm gonna say AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown might have a better game than Travis Kelce. That's just purely dependent on those lines, you know, and how much is Kelce needing to be on that line to block? Because you know, if he's on that line to block, that's taken away from the production that he can provide down the field. So it's gonna be tough. But yeah, I think I'm gonna lean AJ Brown. He might have the edge here.
I would definitely say Travis might have more of an assignment of blocking. Just like I had said, Jerick McKinnon might. So I would have to lean AJ Brown. I mean, personally, I think I've been big on Devonta like this playoffs. I love him. I think he absolutely has been amazing. He's proven himself. But I do think that AJ Brown also needs that game, and I think this could be his game. And I think 100% it's true. Travis Kelce, the only way it wouldn't be true is if we've talked all this about Patty Mahomes' injury and then it's nothing.
If it really is nothing.
Yeah. If it's really nothing, then changes my answer 100%. But I would have to lean true right now. Okay. And then next, true or false, Isaiah Pacheco has a better game than Miles Sanders.
Oh, I think that is 100% a lock. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a great game. Isaiah Pacheco, he's one of those young guys where, I don't know if you kind of heard of his story or not, like his background and all that kind of stuff and what football means to him. But just listening to where he comes from, what he's about, and where he wants to go, not only in life, but in the sport of football, you know, it just makes you want to see the Chiefs give him the football every single play to see just how far he'll run and how hard he'll go through that brick wall. Isaiah Pacheco is a warrior. Isaiah Pacheco is going to bring it. I'm very excited. Jersey's very own. He's going to be in the Super Bowl. It's going to be great to watch. I'm excited for him. I think he's going to have the better game of the two.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I've been an Isaiah Pacheco fan. I mean, as soon as he came into the offense, he started producing. He really showed that he can run and like just straight, like he's able to go through somebody. He runs with a force that he's always running through a brick wall. So I would have to go with Isaiah having a better game, true. Only because Miles Sanders, he's been like inconsistent this entire year in terms of his usage. I mean, we saw him rush for 2 rushing touchdowns, but how much has he actually done that? Is there a chance that he has another one of those games so quickly after he already had one of those? I mean, if anything, I think Jalen's taking a lot of the balls like at the red zone, right on the line. I think it's going to be him. I don't think they're going to rely on Miles like that.
Well, with Jalen too, think about since his injury, I think he's been down, I think 25% in every statistical category, and he's been down 40% in running as well. So, you know, there's a chance that Sirianni leans on Sanders, and not just Sanders, but Kenneth Gainwell as well.
And Boston Scott.
The giant killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a chance that he leans on that running back by committee to help him get downfield while, you know, Jalen kind of makes those shorter plays. And another thing to think about as well is, you know, all season the Eagles haven't really had to throw the ball in the second half. But I think it's either when they've been down or at all. Like, they've only thrown the ball like less than 30 times in the second half. So it's like, against this Chiefs team, who hopefully will keep it competitive and keep it with either within striking reach or keep it close, it's gonna create a lot of situations that the Eagles aren't, I wouldn't say comfortable with, but you know, situations that the Eagles haven't seen and haven't been put through as much throughout the season. Whereas, you know, the Chiefs they're war ready, they're battle prepared. They've been through, you know, almost every game plan, every situation imaginable in a game. So they have those different types of looks. They know how to adjust to them. How are the Eagles gonna adjust, you know, when they have to be throwing the ball in the second half twice, 3 times as much as they have been all season? Is that gonna mess with Jaden's shoulder a little bit more? It creates a lot of questions. It creates a lot of what ifs, and you know, we could sit here and keep going with the what ifs, but it makes me that much more excited to watch the game and see what happens and see how this unfolds. It's gonna be so good.
100%. And then another one is true or false: Juju or Devonta Smith has a better game?
Well, I'm gonna go at this logically. I said AJ Brown earlier because now I thought that, you know, Travis would have those assignments of blocking and whatnot. So that would lead for AJ to have a better game. So I think that if that's the case, and like I said, Mahomes is going to be throwing the ball up to 40 times, and Juju's going to be catching a lot of them. So I could see, you know, Juju having 7-8 catches, having 89 to 95 yards, having that touchdown, having that big play downfield. That puts them in position when, you know, the Eagles are just about to score another one to put them over the top, and Juju just makes a big play. You know, Juju's approaching that age where, you know, he's kind of getting a bit older. But he's a vet. You know, he hasn't had the hugest of moments, but he's had moments.
Dancing moments?
It's too many dancing moments. Thank the Lord that those are no more. But you know, he's still a talented receiver in the league. And when he went to Kansas City, we knew why. We knew that he wanted to play with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who can not only elevate his play, but Juju felt like his talents could elevate Patrick Mahomes' play. And now if they're in a situation like this where Travis needs to block more to keep that protection up so that Patrick has enough time to throw the ball, and you got your 2 other deep threats. Because I remember how earlier we said how they weren't necessarily the same, but the fact that they were both big-bodied receivers make Juju and Travis a bit comparable in the Chiefs' offensive game plan. So while you have MBS and McCoy running on the outsides, and you can have Juju operating in the middle of the field, I think he can do very well. Can he do better than Devonta Smith against the Chiefs secondary? Yeah, I think he can. I think he can. And it just goes to show how much, you know, how far he's come since his days in Pittsburgh and the season where he started off very slow and has picked it up, had great games, and has really learned what it means to, you know, not just be a star receiver, but to be a team receiver on a star team. And it's gonna go to show that everybody on that Chiefs team is gonna come together, you know, to get that job done.
Yeah, that's interesting about the team receiver instead of being the star receiver, because that's what he used to be. And he had to come in here and learn this new offense that Andy Reid put together, which is just team ball. No matter what, you're playing for the person next to you to do well. I do agree that Juju could have more yards than Devonta based on what the game plan will be for the Eagles. I think the game plan isn't going to be super throw. It could be. I like the running a lot, the running aspect. I think the impact Devonta might have will be greater than Juju, though. So I don't know if I have a true or false answer. I feel like Devonta will make that impact when it's necessary. I think Juju will get those yards just because Patty knows how to get him yards.
Yeah, in that sense, I think you can trust Devonta Smith a little bit more to make that, you know, clutch play to put them in great field positioning over Juju. but I still wouldn't doubt the ability of Juju and what he can do on the field. So, like, again, it's going to be interesting to see how the game is going, what the environment is like, what the script is like, especially in the second half. If one side has to be throwing more than the other, if a side doesn't really have to throw at all, it's going to be very dependent, once again, on the Eagles' front seven, the Chiefs' offensive line. It's going to determine a lot of how that game is played.
100% agree. And then the one and final true and false, the most important one. Who has a better game, Patty or Jalen?
Oh, when you said most important, I thought you were going to say the battle of the brothers between Travis and Jason.
No. That is important. That is important.
But between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, you know, you can't just go out and call it a legacy game, because it obviously goes into your legacy, you know, these types of moments, these types of games and situations. So no matter what, it's going to be attached to either player's career for the rest of their lives, whether they win or they lose. Yeah, with Jalen, you know, with coming back from the injury, having that protection from the line, being able to run so well and throw, but, you know, not doing it as well as he has in the beginning of the season, and then just the uncertainty with Patrick Mahomes. I gotta lean on my gut, and I gotta say, you know, Patrick is gonna get it done. I can't imagine, you know, I could imagine the Chiefs losing, but I seriously could not imagine them losing by more than 6 points. And if that were the case, I think they're already well above the 30s. So it's like, it's going to come down to the wire. And I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to do everything physically possible to make sure that the Chiefs get it done.
Yeah, I would have to go Jalen. I think Jalen 100% right now is just on a tear. I mean, I've said that Patty's the best QB, yes, but what Jalen does for his team is just astronomical. The way he orchestrates it, he's not the same type of QB as Patty. I mean, he runs the ball. He's got 13 rushing touchdowns this year. He knows how to get into that end zone, even if it's not through his arm, and that's where his injury is. And I think that he will figure it out, especially after having 2 weeks off right now. I think he'll be able to go into this game way more healthy than Patty, because Patty's injury is way different, way harder to be a QB and not be able to move, especially when you're known as being like a magical guy who can just like move around and you don't see him behind the pocket, or like even when he runs out, you don't even see him. So I would have to lean Jalen. But also, you did bring up the battle of the Kelce's. So now we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we've got Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce. Who's more important?
You know, and it's also so hard to think, because, you know, I feel like a lot of Eagles players, a lot of Eagles fans will tell you, you know, how important Kelce has been to that squad, and, you know, how important it's been to have him under center. But it's Travis Kelce. The guy's, in my opinion, the guy is the MVP of the league. The guy is the best offensive player in the league. There's nobody that can stop him, in my opinion. There's really, like, one-on-one, you put anybody in this football league one-on-one against Travis Kelce, they are not beating him. They're not going to get up with him. They're not going to bring him down. They're not going to take the ball out of his hands on a catch. Travis Kelce has done some amazing things in this league, and, you know, he's getting a bit older, but I think he's going to age like wine. And wine ages great, for those who didn't know. So I think Travis Kelce is going to go out there, and whether he's blocking for 10 plays straight and then running 10 blank routes the next 10 plays and then getting 2 targets over the next 10 plays, you know, he's going to make each and every single one of those plays impactful for his team, and he's going to make it a living hell for everybody else on the opposite side. So there's no way I can't say Travis Kelce. I got to go with my guy, Travis Kelce.
I would definitely say overall, Travis Kelce has the most, like, impact on his, like, in just the mannerism that he's there. Like him being your tight end versus any other tight end changes the game 100%. I agree with that. But I think for this specific game and what's happening, I would have to say Jason Kelce. I mean, he touches the ball every single time. He's under center. He's got it. He's the one who's going to orchestrate what happens. He's going to see the extra defensive reads that maybe Jalen doesn't see at the time. He's a veteran. He knows how to move. He has a Super Bowl. I think that this game, Jason Kelce takes the cake. I think that he's going to be super important, even if you don't see it, because offensive linemen don't have stats. They don't have stats. You're not going to see it on a stat sheet where you can say, oh, he's better than Travis Kelce just based on this statistic. It's not going to happen. Travis Kelce's a tight end. He gets those. He gets every single statistic he can: receptions, yards, touchdowns, all that. He blocks. He does all this extra stuff too, and he gets all that. But Jason Kelce's not going to get any credit or any achievements in that way, 100%. But I think since Patty's hurt, I don't think, and we've said maybe Travis doesn't have a better game than A.J. Brown. I think it swings back to Jason Kelce, making sure that Jalen is okay back there.
Yeah, that's and between the chemistry that the two have built over the past 2-3 years, it's very important that they play together. That Hurts is receiving the snap from Kelce. That's kind of like the antithesis of their offense. That's the start of everything for them. But I think you remove Travis Kelce from this game, and then I think you're talking about the Eagles being 1.5 point favorites to maybe 8.5 point favorites. Honestly, I think that's how much Travis Kelce could change the dynamic of the game. So it's going to be great to see. It really is. There's a lot of great individual battles. There's a lot of great storylines. It's the Super Bowl. Like it's the greatest spectacle of the year. There's going to be tons of commercials. There's going to be tons of celebrities. There's going to be tons of action. There's tons of media coverage. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait. I'm excited. I just want to see a great game. And, come Sunday, 6:30, when we're all sitting down watching the game, enjoying it, it's all the conversations and all the antics and all the critics, all that goes away. And for an hour, 2 hours straight, we get some football for the last time of the season, and it's going to be a great game. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm honestly just so excited. I mean, it's both an amazing moment and a bad moment because football's about to be over.
Yeah, bittersweet.
100%. Yeah, but I definitely am just excited to see this game. I think it's a great matchup. I don't think they could have written the script any better for the season, 100%. And I'm just excited to see what happens. And what I'm more excited about is the picks for this game and, throwing a little cash on this game because there's a lot of good bets.
There's a lot of plays out there. There's good value, bad value, good bets, bad bets. So let's do a couple of them.
Let's get on to it. So over-under. We're sitting at the over-under with 50.5. Sitting at 50.5 right now.
I'd love the over.
I'm with it. I think it's like 60 to 64 point game. Like
it can honestly be even more than that. It can be like
which would be insane.
A 35-31 game, pushing 70 points.
That would be wild to watch.
That would be so much fun. See somebody score a touchdown in every single quarter from both teams. Just keep the action rolling constantly. And on top of that, I'm looking at it and I just love this value. I see the Chiefs money line at plus 104 right now on FanDuel. I see the Chiefs.
The value is definitely there.
Plus
just
1.5
on the favorite.
Plus 1.5 at minus 112. Mix that in with a little alternate total value or a team total. That would be a great pick in my opinion. Taking the Chiefs plus 1.5 if you feel confident that they can get it done. If more reports come out on the team's health and the certainty of their health, that'd be a great pick in my opinion.
I also really think that doing 40 plus yards for Dallas Goedert in a lay with some stuff because it's minus 210, throw it in a lay with like 3 or 4 different things. I think it looks really good. I think Dallas Goedert is somebody we didn't talk about a lot today, but somebody who has a lot of influence into this offense and could actually do a lot, I believe, in the Super Bowl. I think people are going to sleep on him.
Yeah, actually, Dallas Goedert has shown himself to be one of Jalen's go-to guys.
Yeah,
in that offense. So Jalen trusts him. You know, he's gonna get those 2-3 quick slant throws.
Yeah.
Right off at the snap. Can he catch him? You know, take him down for 8-9 yards after the catch. You know how he usually does. You know, with like dragging 2 defenders on him. I think he could definitely do that. I love that play.
I also love the Eagles defense to get an interception against Patty Mahomes. I definitely like that a lot. I think Patty Mahomes throws an interception over half, 100%.
Yeah, over half a reception. I think with Goddard's yards also, maybe, you know, parlaying that with Pacheco's yards. Or like maybe, you know, McKinnon's receptions, you know, maybe take him at like over 2.5 receptions, over 1.5, especially if it's 1.5 receptions.
Yeah.
I'd probably take that if it was 1.5 receptions.
I also think no matter what, anytime touchdown scorer, Jalen Hurts, I think it's like the first time he's been plus money. It feels like in forever. Plus 100. It's just straight up. I 100% will take that. I love it. I honestly could see him grabbing the first one, honestly, which would be crazy, but I think it's possible. I also think the value is there for Boston Scott at plus 500 anytime touchdown.
That's it.
I think the value, I think it sits there. I think Nick Sirianni's just a clown. Like, Nick Sirianni's a clown. This would be a game, like the Super Bowl game, that he just has Boston Scott go out there on the 1-yard line when they get there for some reason. And bang, he gets a touchdown. And Nick Sirianni does what he does and looks over at the Chiefs like, I can have Boston Scott out there and get a touchdown.
And just start dancing on the side.
Yeah.
Going crazy trying to hype.
Like, I can see that happen.
That's what I'm saying. Nick Sirianni's that ballsy play call.
Yeah.
He will do that.
Yeah.
He will do that.
Yeah.
What else do we have? I mean, right under him, the guy we didn't really talk about much, KT, plus 420.
Yeah.
Darius Toney.
Yeah, I mean, they do love him. Like, he's fast. They love him on quick throws. Like, he's honestly used a lot. He's used like Jerick McKinnon in my mind, and the fact that he just goes off to the side and he just can sprint. He goes 0 to 60 so fast. So I could 100% see them at the 5 or 4 yard line, and he's like, Patrick Mahomes is like going right and he's on the left and going this way, because the play design really wouldn't be for him, in my opinion. It would be like a breakdown play and he's in the corner.
And he just burns the defender.
That's possible.
He usually does. Yeah, I can even see that happening from like the beginning of the red zone. You know, he catches a ball in the 22, you know, shakes off a defender or two,
and just has
breaks the tackle,
free
just
time.
runs through.
I could see
a touchdown. You know, that's definitely possible. It's out there, but it's possible.
I would have to go Jerick McKinnon touchdown. I mean, I think he has it 100% in him. What's he sitting at right now? Jerick McKinnon touchdown is sitting at plus 180.
Plus 180 is good value.
That's great value. I mean, that man he's a dog.
Yeah, so I think, so what did we say? So we said, we also didn't say Travis. He's honestly the only favored person to score a touchdown.
Yeah, he is.
115. So if you wanted to take Travis and, you know, maybe parlay him with a couple of other picks,
yeah,
we're either
that
plus
looks
money
good.
or closer.
I wouldn't just take it straight up. That's not a straight bet for me. That's not good.
Unless you want to put down that money for it. But in all honesty, there's, I think, better value out there. But between, you know, Travis Kelce, Jalen Hurts, what do we say? Isaiah Pacheco, did we say AJ Brown?
Yeah.
And then I think, you know, 2 other possible ones, or 3 other possible ones could be, you know, Jerick McKinnon, Kadarius Toney, and Boston Scott that come in at a little bit more plus value. But those are all the guys that we like, you know, maybe to score touchdowns in this, what should be high-scoring game, in our opinion. Yeah,
100%. If it's not a high-scoring game, we are so wrong. we are so wrong if this isn't a high-scoring game. But
if game low and MVS, and then there's like 3 field goals.
Yeah, that would be ugly. We'd have to delete this episode. But receiving yards, we got to hit receiving yards 100%. I believe Jerick McKinnon can break a 30-yard receiving pass. It's sitting at 22.5, I think, right now. And I think that's some good value. I mean, minus 110 straight up, good odds. You throw that into a parlay and it could hit in 1 or 2 plays. And that's all you need from him. I mean, I'm not liking the receiving yards for Patty to throw the long ball that much. I'm looking at short passes, looking at Juju across the middle, I'm not looking for me Cole, maybe 1 or 2 plays, me Cole all the way down.
Over the top.
Over the top. I don't see that happening as much as we've seen it happen. So I'm going to have to go with all those little dick and doinks. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's
just pick and choose.
Yeah, like I think that's going to be the play.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the play, like along with either the minus or plus 1.5 for whatever side you like. You know, the value with the money is there too, because it's either plus 104 or minus 122. So that's great value on either side. And then with the score total, you know, you can always alternate it. You can always switch it up, give yourself better odds, give yourself a little bit of a safety net. So yeah, just going in there and playing around with those numbers, playing around with those plays that you like, those players that you like, knowing how healthy they are is very important when making these selections. But other than that, who do you think would have the most passing yards, the most receiving yards, and the most rushing yards? Because those all bring great value as well. I'm seeing like Jalen Hurts is plus 200 to have more passing yards for the game.
Yeah.
You know, Travis Kelce is plus 230 to have the most receiving yards in the game. And for the most rushing yards,
and that's so easily possible.
It's Miles Sanders at plus, and these are all like the lowest odds, and they're plus 100. For Miles Sanders, plus 230 for Travis Kelce, and plus 200 for Jalen. So those are also plays that you can just take straight up. And if you feel confident enough in the Chiefs' offensive line, take Travis. If not, the guy right under him, AJ Brown, is plus 290.
Yeah.
If you feel confident that, you know, the Chiefs can kind of lock down AJ Brown and Travis Kelce is going to draw that assignment, take the guy who's right under him. Devonta Smith plus 450.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it's a lot of good value right there.
There's a lot of great value, a lot of plays, a lot of picks. You know, it's Super Bowl weekend, so there's going to be some great plays out there. You just got to read through them, take advantage of some value, and not choose with your emotions, because choosing bets with your emotions is
never works.
Never works, and it's a way to lose money. So
yeah, I 100% agree. I think that this game is gonna be one to remember for a while now. I mean, especially just even if the Eagles didn't win, this Super Bowl would be known as Lil Uzi Super Bowl with Just Wanna Rock. I mean, that song's gonna be now just like outliving Uzi at this point, because I just think it's going to be in the history books and it's going to be sick. I mean, I think they should do something sick before the game, like with Meek, Uzi, Sylvester Stallone, those three. Have those three right there. Just like have Sylvester Stallone hitting the Just Wanna Rock. I think they would have to win. You would have to hammer them no matter what. -7, alt spread -7.5 at that point.
Could you imagine that? Just him and Kelce just going next to each other.
I would love it. I think it'd be pretty cool.
That would be amazing.
But,
that would be great TV.
So we're gonna wrap up this episode. It was a great one. I think we have a lot of knowledge for everyone who's listening, and I think we had some good bets and some good picks. So thank you so much, co-host. We absolutely snapped today, and we'll see you guys later, and I hope you guys hit the like button, subscribe, comment below, let us know your picks, let us know if we're right or wrong, because it's definitely possible we're wrong, and we'll see you next week.